I'm here to talk about a silent poison in a trader's pursuit. Something that often makes the difference between those that fail and those that succeed. This poison is dopamine. Most of us that take on the pursuit to become a trader are success oriented, and unfortunately this usually comes hand in hand with unknowingly being addicted to dopamine. I.e., whenever we hit our objectives in life, whenever we hit our milestones, we are basically feeding a loop in our brain which is feeding into that dopamine addiction, and we walk into the craft going, okay, cool, I'm a super ambitious person, I'm determined, I'm relentless, I'm goal driven, I probably have the minerals and necessary criteria as a person to make it in this game even though the odds are stacked against me. But the fact that we are ambitious, the fact that we are box tickers sets us up on completely the wrong fundamentals to make it in this game. My friends and my family got progressively, increasingly very, very worried about me because I was locking myself away in my office, 4 monitors. At that point, I think I had even an extra 2, and was basically being dwarfed by this massive monolithic setup, usually in a dark room, wearing blue light blocker glasses, staying up late at night, constantly scanning the charts, constantly trying to refine my edge, studying through the night, no work-life balance whatsoever, waking up in the middle of the night from alerts that were going off on my phone for potential trade setups. And as I said, everyone thought I was addicted to the charts. I thought I was addicted to the charts in the markets as well. And whenever people said this to me who were worrying about me, I always took it as a good thing, right? I was slyly smirking there going, yeah, I am addicted, I'm obsessed, I have to be obsessed to make it. You often hear that 99% of people or more that try it in this pursuit fail. To be that 1%, I have to be obsessed, I have to be relentless. But what I didn't know is that I wasn't addicted to the markets, I wasn't addicted to the charts, I was addicted to dopamine. So what did this do? Well, it progressively took a toll on both my physical and mental health, for sure. It started to break down my already very weak footings and grip on trading psychology. I became obsessed with the lower time frames, constantly staring at the 1-minute chart. I even remember at one point getting an upgraded TradingView subscription just so I could look at the 30-second chart. I became manically obsessed with the lower time frames and even delved into tick charts, looking at order flow. It was very rare that I wasn't in that room. I thought I was doing something positive for my journey, completely burying myself in the craft, when all I was doing was heightening my dopamine addiction, settling into it more and more comfortably, making it more and more extreme, and things just got worse and worse, really. I started racking up more and more losses, stress got heightened, I started to feel the toll on my body as cortisol levels started to rise more and more. I was completely obsessed with social media, particularly crypto Twitter, staring at my phone, just constantly scrolling. I was pretending to have family time, being on the sofa with my family, again, just constantly scrolling crypto Twitter, trying to find some alpha, trying to find some edge, justifying it to myself, saying it's a good thing, I should be obsessed, I should immerse myself, I should be all in. If I give it everything I've got, then A, I'm more likely to succeed, B, I will succeed, I'm not taking no as an option, and C, in the back of my mind, worst case, if I do fail, I can say to myself, I threw myself in completely 200% and there's no regrets there at all. But as I said, it started to take a toll on my cognitive ability, it started to take a toll on my body, definitely took a toll on my relationships with friends, family, my girlfriend, and all of it for what? I'd studied everything in the book, literally anything you can think of, any system that could be employed by a trader from a technical perspective. I knew it inside out. I'd studied all of the information, taken all of the courses, read all of the books, but I still wasn't profitable. I was still racking up losers. I was racking up bigger losers because I was so confident that I put in all these flight hours, put in all of this screen time. I spoke to other traders and they hadn't done 10% of what I'd done and they were profitable. So why the fuck wasn't I? I was getting angry, I was getting frustrated, I was getting even more stressed. What I'd done is I'd only just scratched the surface, i.e. I'd been focusing on price action, I've been focusing on strategy, I've been focusing on a technical approach, and I hadn't been focusing at all on my trading psychology. I hadn't even looked under the hood. And if I'd taken any time to do so, even take a few days off, gone on holiday, right, taking a breather, I would have had that time, perhaps, that moment of introspection to go, that's why I haven't got to where I want to get to. It's because I've just been trying to study the technicals, and that's not where I'm going wrong. I'm going wrong because I'm addicted to dopamine. I'm going wrong because I haven't paid any attention to trading psychology or even looking at mental makeup and how I'm wired from a psychological standpoint. So I stopped, top down, no alerts in the middle of the night, strict cutoff times. I'm not burning that midnight oil anymore, threw away my blue light blocker glasses. I didn't want to be that guy anymore. Get back to a routine, start gymming every day, exercising every day, meditating. I sought a therapist. I started looking inside. A big change that I made was social media detoxing. I cannot stress how much of an impact this had on me. We don't realize really how detrimental and how powerful the negative ramifications of social media really are in the trading game. But when you're constantly scrolling, first off, as we already know, you're feeding that dopamine loop, right? Which is a terrible thing. Secondly, you're comparing yourself to an unrealistic other. So all of these traders that are flexing on Twitter, essentially what 99% of them are doing is trying to build their brand for partnerships, sponsors, private sell allocations, whatever it is. They're trying to put forward their best self because that version of their best self will net them more followers. So really what you're doing is you're scrolling through a timeline of unrealistic gains, unrealistic performance, which then belittles you. That little inner voice in your head which says you're not good enough, you're not doing well enough, becomes heightened. It gets to a roaring volume inside your head, fucks up your trade management completely, because as soon as you get underwater in a position, you start self-doubting yourself, your self-esteem is completely shattered, knocked to the ground, and basically a whole host of other negative effects that take place as a result of being on social media. If you are one of these people, if this does resonate with you, then please drop it. Delete Twitter off your phone, delete it off your computer, delete your account for a bit if that's what you have to do. If it has to get that extreme, if you're truly that addicted, then do so. I promise you, going into blinkers mode, just being yourself in your own lane, doing your own thing, only reiterating your own trades through your own journaling process and refining that system, I promise you will deliver huge results. And what's the other alternative? You stay on social media, you start following other people's systems, you have no clear direction, and all for what? You're convincing yourself that you're going to pick up another new edge, another new price action concept, a piece of fundamental analysis perhaps that you should be buying a certain coin or stock. No, get rid of that, right? Get rid of that instantly, and I promise you you'll benefit. All of that being said, once I'd put those sort of practical, tangible steps to a better self and a better trader in place, I think the most important thing that I did was just basically tweak my mind and undergo a fundamental mindset shift. And this may sound cheesy or corny, but I'm gonna have to disclose all of this to you. I sort of saw myself as a pious monk, or I tried to anyway, right? As I realized that through my journaling process and reflecting through my past trades, my main issue, fine, I wasn't stuck on the lower time frames and basically giving into that sort of gambling mentality of constantly clicking buttons. I wasn't there anymore, but I still wasn't at the point where my patience, my discipline, and my stringency was where it should be. And you often hear about monk mode, but it's no meme. That's basically where I wanted to get myself to, that level of discipline. And I often liken trading to martial arts a lot, because you take these losses, you get beaten down, you have to pick yourself back up. You need that determination, you need that resilience, you need that tenacity, you need that sort of fierce power burning inside you. But you also need discipline. And this then sort of led me into a whole new area in terms of positive reframing, just reframing the way that I was seeing things. So if we go back to when I was a dopamine addict, I would only be successful when I won, right? I'd have to win a trade, I'd have to make money. And this transition into discipline, stringency, monk mode, etc., I essentially managed to get myself to a point whereby I had this huge sense of pride when I wasn't in a position, and I still have it today, right? When I'm not taking a trade, when I'm skipping trades, I feel achieved, I feel empowered, I feel like I'm basically fulfilling my mission statement, which is to be, more towards that sort of disciplined monk. And every one of those trades that I skip is confirmation that I've moved away from where I was in terms of being addicted to dopamine, and I'm patting myself on the back for it. All the trades that I'm not taking is me essentially skipping a loss. That's me skipping drawdown. That's me skipping negative P&L. That's me boosting my overall performance. And sometimes it gets to a point where it's even slightly too distorted. Maybe I've gone a little bit too far the other way, right? Sometimes when I skip trades and they even run in my direction, I'm still content with the decision I've made. Usually because I know that it's a one-off. I know that I've basically done the right thing and my gut wasn't telling me that the trade was 100% on point. Fine, that one's run today. But tomorrow or the next week, I'll skip another trade for the same reasons and I'll be glad that I did so. So I feel like all of this time, I've kind of gone full circle from dopamine addiction all the way to a sort of serotonin supported state where I'm happy, I'm content, I know I'm doing the right thing. And I have little mantras I say to myself, for instance, prefrontal on, impulse off. All of these things are basically just concreting my journey from dopamine to discipline. Now, I'm very pleased and very proud to say that's the trader I've become. I'm in control, I'm patient, I'm disciplined. I only move into positions if they are 110% A-star setups. I often ask myself before I press the button, do I need to be in the trade? Do I have to be in this position? Will it end up keeping me up at night if I'm not in this position? And as a result, of course, I'm taking far less trades than I used to, and still even month on month, year on year, this discipline, this stringency gets built up, it develops, it progresses further and further, which means I'm taking less and less trades. But with so, I have more confidence in their play out. I'm able to size up more into these positions. I'm able to have more time with my friends, my family, doing things I enjoy, being outdoors, spending time with nature, leaning into my hobbies, having an actual work-life balance. And yeah, essentially living life how I want to live life. I'm having better trading performance as well, sort of as a side effect more than anything else. All of this being said, this, of course, is much easier to apply if you're a swing trader, intraday trader, or position trader. If you are a scalper, then that's a completely different beast. And to be honest, not something I have any successful experience with anyway. But for everyone else out there, I imagine if you integrate everything I've gone through in this video, you will see both your mental health, happiness, and your performance come leaps and bounds. So I hope you understand how critical it is to shed this dopamine addiction and transcend it and move closer and closer towards a disciplined stance in trading. That being said, if you're watching this video, you may already be well into your journey and slightly struggling. If that is the case, then I am truly sorry. I know what it feels like from first-hand experience, but just know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So thanks for watching, but if those words do apply to you, I highly recommend watching this video here. Just a little piece to motivate you. So sit back, get a coffee, and get stuck in. I hope it imparts as much value as it's intended to.